Hello out there in YouTube land.
Welcome back.
It is time for another one of our Gothic movie review thingy bobbers. And today we decided it was time.
It's time for Werewolves.
Yes. And probably our favorite werewolf movie ever.
It's American Werewolf in London.
And if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. You need to either rent it on streaming or you need to just, buy it on Blu-ray or whatever because you're going to love it.
You will love it.
It's amazing.
I mean, obviously it's an older movie, but you are going
I believe
to love
it was 1981, and it's directed by John Landis. It has amazing werewolf transformation effects by the legendary Rick Baker.
Yes.
And
honestly, cinematically, they're some of the best even today that I've seen.
And, this is pre-CGI.
Yes.
It's all, literal latex punched with individual hairs and everything. I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
It's amazing. And, the costuming alone was probably kudos to whoever did all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's just an outstanding film, not just an outstanding horror film. It's an outstanding film all the way around. It's
a good plot. It's a good progression. And it kind of gives you... It's not so much horror, horror. It's the creep effect.
And it gets into, a lot of the emotional aspects of becoming a werewolf.
Yes.
I kind of have a funny story about, getting to see this movie. So... when I was young, I had a huge crush on David Naughton, who at the time was the Dr. Pepper guy.
Yep.
And if you haven't seen the Dr. Pepper guy, you can Google and YouTube that, and he sang the song I'm a pepper, you're a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Yes, Danny sang the pepper song. But at any rate, I thought he was really cute. And I was 5, okay? So this was really young kid crush on somebody. Mm-hmm. And I had seen the advertisement on TV about this new movie starring David Naughton.
Yes.
Who was in American Werewolf in London. And, I was already a horror film fanatic. So I was bugging my parents. I'm like, I have to see the Dr. Pepper guy. He's in a werewolf movie. I have to see it. So here's my poor parents, which I say that totally because, this is early 1980s.
Yeah.
And number one, it was we don't know if that movie will come to town because at the time that was actually a really big concern because most movies didn't come to West Virginia.
No, and, that was even through... most of our childhood, and even to young adult. A lot of the horror movies just, and even today, actually, don't come here.
So, my parents first were like, well, if it makes it here, we'll see about going to see it.
Right.
Well, then, of course, I see in the newspaper that the theater down by our local Hills department store, which was an early version of what Kmart was and what became Walmart. But at any rate, our movie theater one of them was down there. And that was the one that had American Werewolf in London. So, my parents relented. They're like, okay, alright, we'll try. I don't even know if they're going to let you in the movie, we'll try. So, we get down there. And everybody is aghast that a 5-year-old wants to go see American Werewolf in London. And so, my dad is like, no, you don't understand. My daughter loves horror films. She will not let me sleep if I don't let her in to see this movie.
Which is true.
It is. So, finally, the manager of the theater grabbed a piece of paper, and I don't remember whether it was a napkin or whatever, but he actually wrote out an agreement that Dad would not sue him or the theater if I had nightmares after watching the movie. And Dad had to sign this little note before they let me go in to see the movie.
Now, to be fair, a lot of kids probably would have freaked out.
Yes.
Not us.
No. So, honestly, it's hilarious that at the time that was such a concern so, this guy had to have my dad sign a release so I could get in to go see the movie. And, I mean, the other funny part is that while, I'm used to watching horror films and everything, my mother didn't want me to see anything that was too sexual or whatever.
Right.
So anytime David Naughton was naked on screen, she'd be like, all right, Dani, time to hide your eyes. So she'd hold her hand in front of my eyeballs. But every time the werewolf changed or attacked anybody, it was okay, but the sex wasn't.
The sex was not.
So that was my funny American Werewolf in London story.
And I think, too, talking about kind of the werewolf changing scenes, those were, I thought, done very well. Because you get that kind of, you almost empathize with the werewolf.
Yes,
hurts.
Yes, and they did a really good job of showing the pain that you go through as your bones are lengthening and all these things.
Things are kind of like that socket sound, that sucking pop, and you're just sitting there like, ooh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and, and even, better about the film is that David Naughton, besides, as an actor, is a really likable person.
Yeah.
So they really did a good job of picking an actor as well as having in the script to make you empathize with this poor guy who is becoming a werewolf.
Yeah, and I mean, that's very different because usually before that you would see a werewolf movie where it's just, oh my god, the werewolf is coming to kill everybody. You don't see it from the werewolf standpoint.
And, the only other film that I can remember that ever did it in terms of like an empathy way was the original Wolfman with Lon Chaney.
Yeah.
Because he was a tortured character in that, here he's just this normal guy who unfortunately got bitten by a werewolf, and so the horror was not only that these people were dying, but the fact that, here's this poor guy who is in this horrible curse.
Yeah.
And, which I was really glad that John Landis made the choice to jump into that type of thing again, because, like Tabby was saying, all through the 60s and 70s, anytime you'd see a werewolf movie, it was always like, oh my god, there's a whole bunch of people dying, it looks like a dog attack. Oh, it's a werewolf! You can, there's, TV movies from 1972 that's the whole premise of the entire movie.
Yeah. And, if you hang out with us into Halloween this year.
Yeah.
So last year we did vampires. This year we'll be visiting the werewolves.
We will. So we're going to be doing probably werewolf makeup looks. We're not going to do fake hair. That takes way too many hours.
I don't know. I guess we could film as soon as we get out of bed. That's kind of, my hair looks a little...
Or we could do like a 17-hour live of us trying to do werewolf makeup. I don't know how many people would tune in for that.
I don't know how many... I don't know if I could handle, live.
I don't know if our butts would survive. Because we sit on the floor to film these and our legs would be so asleep. But, at any rate, we'll do some sort of werewolf makeup look. We'll talk about werewolf movies. We'll probably do a video on just the folklore of werewolves, period.
Right. The werewolves in literature, things like that. So, hang out with us. This Halloween will be werewolves, but we wanted to kind of touch on what our favorite werewolf movie was.
And, again, we can't say enough, you have to see this werewolf movie. Yes. It is like the cream of the crop. It is the best.
And of course, you get talking about American Werewolf in London. There is American Werewolf in Paris, personally, and you'll have to wait for our review on that.
Yeah. But,
it has its aspects.
It has some good parts, but it is very different of a film. It is actually a horror comedy, not a horror film, whereas American Werewolf in London is a straight-up horror film. So, if you're not a fan of horror comedy, probably shouldn't check out American Werewolf in Paris, but totally check out American Werewolf in London.
Yeah. So, tell us what your favorite werewolf movie is. We want to know.
We do.
And probably we will include it in our list in the future.
Yeah, because we're going to try and do, a big old list of werewolf movies.
So, with that, have a very good rest of your week.
And until next time, bye.
Bye.